the most notable parts of the estate are real property wherever situated. If you're in New York, for example, it could be in New York, but you might also have a summer cottage in Florida or Poconos or in California. And it gets a lot more complicated if it's in France. But that is especially if it's in another jurisdiction. If it's in another state, that's already another jurisdiction, but especially if it's outside of the country, you absolutely need to speak with a professional. There's a tangible property like cars, or maybe it's a set of spoons that belong to your grandma that's very important to you. And even though it doesn't have monetary value, it has sentimental value, and it might spark a family feud, which you'd want to avoid. There's an intangible property, and that is bank accounts, investment accounts, and things like that. Now, you have to remember that each type of an asset, even though you might say, oh, mom has $100,000, it's not necessarily true, because if mom has $30,000 in checking account and then $30,000 in investments and then another 40 in retirement accounts like an IRA or 401k, they will be treated differently if she passed, and even more so under different regimes of every state, and even more so if she was on Medicaid, because Medicaid has something that's called estate recovery, where at someone's passing, they may be able to come in and collect against those assets for all the services they've provided. You may have heard the scare tactics, something like, oh my God, when you die, the government will come in and take everything. That is not the case. There's no one big bad government. There's agencies providing services. So if someone has a house for $700,000 and without proper planning during their lifetime, they racked up a bill of $500,000, Medicaid is entitled to those $500,000, and then the remainder goes to the family. It's not like Medicaid is going to just wipe out what you have. However, if the house is 700 and the services were extended for $1 million, Medicaid's not likely going, they might, but they're not likely going to go after the beneficiaries, but they are going to wipe out what they can because they're permitted under the law. So you have to keep all of that in mind when you're taking care of an aging loved one. Especially caution that you absolutely have to look for the signs of dementia, because if they already have a full-blown dementia, none of these documents can be signed by them anymore. That window's closed. You might consider guardianship, which again, at a later date. But if there's an onset, or if there's anything that you still have the requisite mental capacity, you're highly advised to speak with your attorney as soon as possible.